Not the show you were expecting, you stumbled into it. Well, you know what you could do is have, like, AI whip you up something better. Otherwise, stick around. Them anime movie talks. Them's vampire reactions. Them's colorful commentary. After the theme song.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
I mean, there's this internet story that Hellboy 3 is happening. Not likely. Seems like bad internet journalism. I saw, like, one clickbait website, I don't know who provided the details, and then you know what that happens. Somebody writes this fantasy story, gets fantastic coverage, then people start clicking it, then it becomes clickbait, and it's everywhere. I mean, they were saying, oh, yeah, Guillermo del Toro, original Hellboy actor Ron Perlman. I highly doubt it. It would be nice if we got a direct sequel. I mean, that's the Hellboy everybody wants, but that's not the Hellboy we got. Not recently, anyway. Granted, the standalone Hellboy movies that came after it, because we got 4 of them now. I mean, there's probably nothing wrong with them. I don't know. I mean, David Harbour, he did an okay Hellboy. His Hellboy actually seemed like a younger version of the Perlman Hellboy, like if his early cases were going on or whatever. But all right, anyway, let's see. You ever see those Buzzballz? You know these little things, these little cocktail drinks you like to have at them parties? Well, they actually got these bigger balls? I don't know. They're just called Biggies, or what are they called? I had it written down. Biggies. They're called Biggies, but it says Buzzball Biggies. Have you seen these things? They're at the Walmart. I don't know if they're at the Kmart. Is there even a Kmart still in existence? I don't know. Are they at the Circle K? Probably not. Anyway, yeah. They're at the Marts. Look around. Are they at Safeway, Vons, Ralph's, Albertsons, fucking Stop and Shop? I don't know. Are you going to have to stop and shop for them? Probably. Buzzballz Biggies. Anyway, they're just fun. They're just fun, stupid. It's like, Buzzballz to me is kind of like a nips company was like, hey, how can we stand out among the other nips that are not just ordinary nips? What else can we serve? And they did this Buzzball. It's like a nip in a ball shape. Anyway, whatever. Crunchyroll lists Kiki's delivery service as an anime that deals with burnout. Like, you know, the burnout of a worker. Check it out anyway for some burnout relief. Look at Kiki's delivery service. Why am I talking about Kiki's delivery service? Well, technically, it's still anime month. Anime in the month of May. However, I watched this weird one with not too much to say about it, not trivia-wise anyway. It's called The Blade of the Phantom Master. Here's the short version, and then I'm going to cover an entirely different movie. A knight tries to restore or avenge a dead kingdom. The world's in chaos between these warlord territories. It's supposedly based on, like, Korean fantasy mythology or old Korean stories or something, or feudal Korea stories from feudal Korea. I don't know, is that medieval Korea? I'll look it up. Where am I at? Oh, the knight shoots guns, and then he has to fight another warlord knight who then raises the dead. It sounds great the way I'm describing it, but it's not. It's basic. Binge later, binge never, binge now. Like, binge later, binge never, binge now. No, wait, I'm screwing up our whole system. It goes, binge now, binge later, binge never. This one, actually, we haven't done one of these in a while, binge never. And what's the favorite bit from that? Well, when the other warlord, or whatever, the guy trying to take power over one of the territories in the end of the movie raises the dead, then the main character just somehow magically brings up his own dead army to fight the other dead army. I mean, that's my favorite bit, but whatever. Anyway. I mean, there are these cannibal goblin guys that burst out of the sand at one point in the movie. That's kind of cool, too. But anyway. Alright, moving on. So what would we decide to watch? Okay. To fill a whole show, I decided let's pick a horror movie that feels like anime. The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. In China, Professor Van Helsing helps 8 kung fu-trained siblings reclaim their ancestral mountain village, which has become the domain of 7 powerful vampires and their army of undead slaves. Christopher Lee had tried to talk Peter Cushing out of doing the film. Peter Cushing plays Van Helsing, of course, in the Hammer movies and continues into this one. Also from Hammer Films. I guess I should clarify. This is like the fifth and last entry in the Dracula series from the original Hammer Studios. Anyway, Christopher Lee tried to talk Peter Cushing out of doing the film, as he considered it to be beneath him, and also beneath an actor of Cushing's status. Lee told Cushing that Ralph Bates was willing to step in and do Cushing's role of Professor Lawrence Van Helsing if Cushing did not want to do it, but Cushing replied that he thought the change of scenery might help his depression after struggling with his wife's death 2 years prior. This was provided by IMDb. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's the story behind the movie. Speaking in an interview in the late 90s, director Roy Ward Baker, that's hard for me to say, Roy Ward Baker, described making the film as a nightmare. He said it was only his one and only, he said it was when his and his fellow Hammer film crew got to Hong Kong, he discovered that almost none of the Golden Harvest studio crew spoke any English. He said he was unaware that Hong Kong-made films shot silently and then looped in post-production due to the constant noise of local traffic and aircraft. So when he started filming, he found out the hard way that the location sound was compromised and basically unusable for the same reason. This was the first of 2 Hammer films that were shot back-to-back in Hong Kong, and the 5th and last in the Hammer Dracula series, in which Peter Cushing played Van Helsing. Although Christopher Lee was offered the role of Dracula, he turned it down after reading the script. This is the only film in the Hammer Dracula series to not have Dracula's name in the title. Yeah, because there's like the Sins of Dracula or the Wives of Dracula, Dracula AD 72. Is there Death of Dracula? I don't know. I don't remember the original titles. We have a classic episode where we talked about these Hammer classics. Go dig that up. Dig that podcast episode out of its own grave and listen to it. Where are we at? Where are we at? We are at... Oh, I know where we're at. We're at the messages for this week. We'll be right back after these messages with our favorite bits from the Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires. Tonight's messages. Hey, let me influence you like one of them influencers. My link tree, it's a tree of links to click. It has 30 days free of Hulu or a Harry starter kit to shave with. Click, click, clickety, click, click. Alright? That was kind of an ad, a paid promo type deal so far, so there. That's what you got. Okay, now back to our favorite bits from the Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires. Yeah, something like that. Of Dracula, whatever. I mean, there's a twisted scene in the beginning where Dracula basically crawls inside the body of an Asian monk, and then he's basically that monk for the rest of the movie. Anyway. Which makes sense. They had basically 2 inferior actors play Dracula because they couldn't get Christopher Lee back into the role. There you go. All right, where are we? Favorite bits from the Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires. I like the idea of seeing some version of the Chinese Golden Vampire story being adapted for Western audiences. I like that. The fact that we get any movie about it at all is nice. All right. There's a bunch of brothers and there's one sister. There's I think there might be one for each vampire, so there might be 7 brothers and 7 sisters. Oh no, a bride for 7 brothers and 7 sisters. No, just kidding. It has nothing to do with that Dutch play or whatever that musical thing is, whatever that is. 7 brides for 7 brothers. Is that what it is? Anyway, one of the brothers fights the vampires with his bow. Another one has sticks. The main guy just does like Bruce Lee stuff. But my favorite brother is the Axe Brother. When you're going to fight demons and undead, you're going to want an axe, right? Especially in medieval times, you're going to want something with a lot of power, a lot of thrust, and just ravages the Ravagers. Anyway, Van Helsing has a dopey Nepo baby son that's in this. That's kind of funny. I like the old school idea of financing an expedition of strange experts to go off and do something mystical in dangerous places. We've kind of lost that idea in modern movies. I mean, with the exception of specifically fantasy movies that literally we got to complete a quest with a map and there's monsters, like a Dungeons and Dragons type deal or Stranger Things show. But I'll say it again. I like the old school idea of financing an expedition involving strange experts to go off and do something mystical. We can just do a bunch of movies like that. All right. The patented Binge-Watchers rating system. Binge now, gotta watch it now. Binge later, get around to it. Doesn't have to be the top of your list. Binge never. Don't waste your time. You can't get the hours back in your life. You're gonna age as you watch this. Where does this land? Binge later, because you're just simply trying to finish the Hammer Dracula movies. If you've seen the other 4, you're like, I want one more Hammer Dracula. What is it? It ends with this one. It's kind of a dud. But if you want the Kung Fu elements, Gung Fu, hopping vampire type deals, mysticism, martial arts, vampire movie, there you go. It could be remade. Could be a great movie. Take it on. It'd be like a Big Trouble in Little China type deal. Where are we at with that? Yeah, so binge later. That's where we land. Fan service. All right. If the fans are chiming in, what are they saying? A couple of things happened. Hearing the beat of my own drummer from TikTok. Yeah, that's the user's name. Hearing the beat of my own drummer. All the words are running together as one name. Hearing the beat of my own drummer from TikTok said, I'd watch a total rambling account of Highlander from you. Thank you. I aim to please myself. I was talking about the Highlander movies recently. I was in ramble mode. I was trying to encapsulate everything that's ever happened in a cinematic version of the Highlander series. From everything. To the cartoons, to the TV shows, to how the movies don't connect to each other because the continuity's all effed up. Yeah, I'd ramble on about that all day long. That should be its own standalone show. Anyway. Alright, oh wait, and then another fan, a consistent fan, he wanted to point out that Rain was dead. And I thought Thunder was already dead. The actors that played Rain and Thunder from Big Trouble in Little China, by the way, have passed away. Okay, staff picks. If you watched. Okay, if you're not gonna watch The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, what else can I recommend to you? Here's what I came up with. Let me know how you feel about it. I watched Two for the Money twice now. I recall liking it the first time and hating it this time, which means that the viewings, one's a positive, one's a negative, which means the viewings cancel themselves out. So don't watch it, I guess. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It's closing time. I think there's like a song called Closing Time. You can look it up. It's from the 90s. I think it's from the 90s. I'm pretty sure it's from the 90s. Yeah. Closing time, blah, blah, blee, boo, blue, blah, blue. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. What do I recommend you do? You don't have to go home. Go find a Chuck E. Cheese that's still open. You can't stay here. You don't have to go home. Go to a Chuck E. Cheese.